Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today.
Diving deep, I like it.
So, are you ready to unlock the power of our minds?
Always. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, we'll be exploring the power of this subconscious mind today, looking at some of the main ideas from it,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully unlocking some of that mind power for ourselves along the way.
I love it. I'm excited to see where we go with this one.
Me too. It's a classic, this book.
Oh, yeah.
It tries to explain what we sort of already know about the power of our minds.
Right. Right.
But connecting it with like the actual science behind it. So it starts off talking about the conscious and subconscious.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the difference and why does it even matter?
So think of it this way. Your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the captain of a ship.
Okay.
Making decisions, giving orders.
Yeah.
But the engine room, that's your subconscious. And it's just carrying out the orders, no matter what those orders are.
Okay, I think I get the analogy. So like if the captain makes bad decisions, gives bad orders, the engine room still obeys and the ship ends up like totally off course.
Exactly. And that's why we often get the opposite of what we want.
Okay.
You might consciously desire success. You want to be successful.
Yeah.
But if you have all these subconscious beliefs, maybe about not being good enough or not being worthy or capable, those negative beliefs are working against you.
They're like sabotage almost.
Yeah. And they can totally sabotage all your efforts.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely like self-sabotaged before. And it's probably because I was giving my subconscious these like mixed messages.
It happens. It happens to all of us.
But how do we change those subconscious beliefs if they're already there?
Well, the book argues that's where the power of suggestion comes in.
Okay.
So the subconscious, it doesn't reason like our conscious mind does. It just accepts whatever it's repeatedly told. So if you feed it positive suggestions, eventually it'll start to believe them.
Like reprogramming almost.
Yeah, it is. It's totally like reprogramming your internal software.
Yeah. Is that where the idea of autosuggestion comes in?
Exactly. Autosuggestion is about consciously and repeatedly feeding those positive suggestions into your subconscious mind. It's like planting seeds in the garden of your mind.
Okay.
If you plant seeds of doubt and fear, you're going to get a crop of negativity. But if you plant seeds of confidence and belief, you reap a harvest of success.
That's a really powerful image. It makes me think of that story in the book about the singer who overcame stage fright by using autosuggestion.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
They basically like retrained their subconscious to think they were a confident performer.
Yeah, they convinced their mind that they were great.
It's amazing how much we can actually control if we understand how to do it.
Right, and there's also the example of the man who used affirmations to get rid of his bad temper.
Oh, yeah.
He kept telling himself, I'm calm and patient, I'm calm and patient, and eventually it became true. His subconscious believed it.
So wait, are affirmations and autosuggestion, are they the same thing?
They are very similar, yeah. They both involve consciously choosing what you want to believe. Affirmations, those are usually short, positive statements you just repeat regularly to impress them on your subconscious.
Okay.
But autosuggestion, that can be a little broader, It encompasses any positive suggestion that you give yourself.
So it sounds like no matter which method you're using, whether it's affirmations or visualizations or something else, it all comes down to consistency.
Absolutely. The subconscious, it learns through repetition. It's like learning any new skill.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more ingrained it becomes. And we're constantly giving ourselves suggestions, whether we're aware of it or not.
Wow. So we're always programming our subconscious, even if we're not meaning to.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to become aware of those thoughts and beliefs that we have. We have to pay attention to the messages that we're sending to our subconscious minds. And we want to make sure that they're the messages that match up with what we actually want to create in our lives.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So if we can actually reprogram our subconscious minds, does that mean we can achieve anything we set our minds to?
Well, the book certainly seems to suggest that, yeah.
Okay.
It talks about the subconscious being like the source of ideals and creativity and inspiration. It even mentioned Shakespeare and Beethoven and Phidias.
Wow, big names.
Yeah, it's implying that they were all able to tap into like this deeper well of creativity within themselves.
So are you saying we all have the potential to be these creative geniuses?
I think the point is that we all have this vast reservoir of creativity within us.
Okay.
We just need to learn how to access it. And the book gives us a number of techniques for doing just that.
I'm definitely curious to learn more about those techniques. But first, You mentioned that the book really emphasizes the power of belief in shaping reality. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. The book argues that our beliefs are super powerful. It's not just about like positive thinking, it's about really believing something on a deep level. And when you have that unwavering belief, it can influence outcomes in some pretty surprising ways.
Okay, that makes me think of that story about the surgeon, Dr. Essadeh, who had incredibly low infection rates.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s,
Oh, right.
before we even had modern antiseptic techniques.
It's crazy to think about, right? And the book says that his unwavering belief that there would be no infection, it actually played a big role in his patient's healing.
So our beliefs can actually influence our physical health.
That's what the book is suggesting, and it goes even further. It uses the example of Madame Beer's healing at Lourdes to highlight the power of faith and expectancy in triggering remarkable recoveries.
Wow, those are some powerful examples. It really does make me think of that phrase, as within, so without. It seems like what we believe in our minds can actually manifest in our physical reality.
Exactly, and the book uses that phrase quite a bit. As within, so without. It even quotes an inscription found in Hermes' tomb.
Oh, wow. What does it say?
As within, so without. As above, so below.
So it sounds like it's this universal principle almost. Our inner world actually shapes our outer world.
That's the idea. And what's really interesting is that this ancient wisdom is being echoed in modern psychology and even quantum physics now.
Wow.
There's growing evidence that our thoughts and beliefs can actually influence the very fabric of reality.
That is mind-blowing. So it's not just about positive thinking. It's about actually aligning our beliefs with what we want to experience in life.
Exactly. And the book provides a number of techniques for doing just that. It's not just about wishing for things. It's about cultivating that deep, unwavering belief that they're possible.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects. But how do we actually go about changing our beliefs? I mean, some of them feel pretty ingrained, like they've been there forever.
That's a great question. And it's one that the book addresses head on. It offers a bunch of practical techniques for actually harnessing the power of the subconscious mind.
Excellent. Okay, let's dive into those.
Let's do it.
You mentioned mental movies earlier. Can you remind me how that technique works?
So imagine mental movies as a mental rehearsal for success.
Okay.
So you create these vivid mental images of the outcomes that you want, and you want to engage all your senses, make it feel as real as possible.
So like if I wanted to sell my house, I would imagine myself like receiving a great offer and handing over the keys and feeling that sense of relief and accomplishment, like I'm actually already living in that reality.
Precisely. The book suggests using this technique for all sorts of goals, from finding the perfect job to attracting a loving partner. It's about impressing those outcomes on your subconscious mind so it can start working behind the scenes to bring them to fruition.
That makes sense. So you're basically giving your subconscious mind a blueprint to follow.
Exactly. And the more detailed and vivid those mental movies are, the more powerful the impact they'll have on your subconscious.
Okay, mental movies. Got it. What about the other techniques? What was that Baudouin technique?
The Baudouin technique is really interesting. It uses the time right before you fall asleep to your advantage.
Okay.
So the idea is to condense whatever you want to achieve into this short, positive phrase, and you just repeat it silently to yourself as you're drifting off.
Is it like a hypnotic suggestion, kind of?
In a way, yeah. You're taking advantage of that relaxed state of mind before you go to sleep. When your conscious mind is less active, your subconscious is more receptive. It's like planting a seed in fertile ground.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So you're feeding your subconscious mind with these positive suggestions right before sleep, hoping they'll take root while you're dreaming.
Exactly. And the book has some really cool examples of people who have used this technique to overcome challenges. And they even achieve some pretty big goals.
Okay, Baudouin technique. Got it. Now remind me about the thank you, Father technique. That one sounded interesting too.
Okay, this one is all about the power of gratitude.
Okay.
So you choose something that you're grateful for or something that you want. And you just repeat the phrase, thank you, Father, over and over again, just expressing that gratitude in advance.
So you're thanking the universe.
Yeah.
Or a higher power for something that you haven't even received yet.
Yes. You're shifting your mental state from one of lack to one of abundance. You're acknowledging that what you desire is already on its way. And the book has this great example of a man named Mr. Broke who used this technique to overcome some serious money problems.
No way.
Yeah, he just kept repeating, thank you, Father, for the money he needed. And eventually it started coming to him. from unexpected sources.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try that one, Mr. Broke and the Thank You Father technique. But let's get back to those specific life challenges we were talking about.
Yeah, okay.
You mentioned that the book talks about financial difficulties in career success and relationships.
Right.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with financial difficulties, because the book, it really emphasizes how important it is to align our conscious and subconscious minds to actually attract abundance.
Okay, we were talking about that earlier. But how do we actually do that? I mean, for a lot of us, our beliefs about money are like super ingrained.
You're right, they can be super deep. So the book suggests that you start by just identifying those limiting beliefs.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you were taught about money when you were growing up? Do you believe that money is scarce? That it's bad to be wealthy? That you have to work really, really hard to make money?
Wow, yeah. Those are all messages I've heard before.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners have too.
Exactly. And once you can identify those beliefs, you can start to challenge them and replace them with more empowering beliefs. And affirmations, those are great for this.
Okay, so instead of thinking money is hard to come by, I could affirm I am a money magnet. Abundance flows into my life easily and effortlessly.
Exactly. And the more you repeat these affirmations, the more they'll start to sink into your subconscious mind. And they'll replace those old limiting beliefs.
And what about visualization? Does the book talk about that for financial abundance?
Absolutely. It encourages you to create vivid mental pictures of yourself living a life of financial freedom. So you want to imagine yourself having more than enough money to cover all your expenses, to travel, to do the things you love, to give to others. Feel those emotions, joy, gratitude, abundance, as if you're already living that reality.
That's cool. It's like creating a movie trailer for your dream life. And if you watch that trailer over and over, you're programming your subconscious to make it real.
Exactly. It's about impressing those images and emotions on your subconscious mind so it can start working behind the scenes to attract those experiences into your life.
Okay, that makes sense. But visualizing abundance is one thing, taking action is another. Does the book talk about that too?
It does. It emphasizes how important it is to take inspired action. You can't just wish for financial abundance. You need to take steps to create it.
So that means things like budgeting and investing,
Uh-huh.
starting a side hustle,
Yes.
looking for a better paying job.
All of those are great examples of inspired action.
Okay, so it's about listening to your intuition and actually following your heart.
Exactly. And trusting that the universe is going to support you as you take those steps.
Okay, I love that. So we've covered shifting our beliefs about money, visualizing abundance, and taking inspired action. Is there anything else the book suggests for attracting wealth?
One more important point it makes is to be mindful of your thoughts and feelings about wealthy people.
Ah, yes. We were talking about that earlier. It's about letting go of any resentment or envy you might have towards people who are already financially successful.
Exactly. Those negative emotions, they can create subconscious blocks to your own financial abundance. It's about recognizing that we're all part of this universal flow of abundance, and there's enough for everyone.
So instead of feeling resentful, we should be celebrating other people's financial success and seeing it as evidence that abundance is possible for us too.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective from scarcity to abundance and believing that you too can create a life of wealth and prosperity.
Okay, I'm feeling more abundant already. But let's move on to career success. What does the book have to say about that?
It starts off with this really inspiring story about a young man who dreamed of becoming a doctor. And he actually achieves his goal. It highlights the power of persistence and the importance of aligning your actions with what you want. He didn't just want to be a doctor. He actually took steps to make it happen. And he always held that vision in his mind.
Okay, so it's about combining the inner work, visualizing your goals, with the outer work,
Yeah.
actually taking those steps to achieve them.
Exactly. And the book cautions against negative thoughts and emotions toward your current job or your employer.
Yeah, right. So even if you're not in your dream job right now, it's important to try to stay positive
Yes.
and focused on where you want to be, because complaining and negativity, those are just going to create more of what you don't want.
Exactly. The book encourages you to focus on the good things about your job, no matter how small those good things are, and to try to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for what you have.
So it's about appreciating where you are, even while you're striving for something better.
Exactly. And remembering that every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow.
Okay, that's great advice. But what if you're not even sure what your dream job is? What if you don't even know what you want to do? Does the book address that at all?
It does. It suggests that you try things like journaling and meditation and visualization just to help you connect with your inner wisdom and uncover your true passions and your purpose.
Hmm. So it's like quieting all of the noise from the outside world
Uh-huh.
and tuning into your own internal compass.
Exactly. And the book says that finding your dream job is often a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
So it's about being open to new possibilities and following your intuition. It'll guide you to a career that makes you happy and that aligns with your values.
That's awesome. But what about people who feel stuck in a job that's not fulfilling at all? Like they're just totally miserable. Does the book offer any hope for escaping the corporate grind?
It does. It encourages you to explore all your options
Okay.
and to consider different career paths, ones that might align with your passions.
Yeah.
And it suggests using techniques like affirmations and mental movies to actually visualize yourself successfully switching to a new career and attracting all the resources and opportunities you need to make that happen.
Okay, so even if you feel totally trapped in a job you hate, you can still use the power of your mind to create something better.
Exactly. It's about remembering that you always have a choice and that you have the power to create the life you desire.
Okay, that's super empowering. So we've talked about financial abundance and we've talked about career success, but what about relationships? I mean, that's a huge part of life. Does the book offer any advice for navigating all of that?
It does. It actually dedicates a whole chapter to relationships. It covers everything from attracting the right partners
Right.
to overcoming challenges in the relationships you already have.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of the main points?
Well, it starts by emphasizing the importance of self-love. It argues that until you truly love and accept yourself, you'll have trouble attracting a partner who loves and accepts you too.
That makes a lot of sense. You can't really expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself first.
Exactly. But how do we actually cultivate self-love?
Yeah, how do you do that?
The book suggests practicing self-care, acknowledging your strengths and accomplishments, forgiving yourself for past mistakes, and it encourages you to challenge any negative beliefs you have about yourself and replace those with positive, more empowering ones.
So it's about treating yourself with kindness and recognizing your own worth.
Exactly. And once you have that strong foundation of self-love, you'll be in a much better place to attract a partner who aligns with that.
Okay, so self-love is key. But what about actually attracting an ideal partner? Does the book give specific techniques to do that?
It does. It emphasizes the importance of getting clear on what you want in a partner. So it suggests making a list of all the traits you're looking for, the physical and non-physical traits, and then visualizing yourself in a relationship with someone who has those qualities.
So it's about feeling those emotions of joy, love, connection, as if you're already in that relationship.
Exactly. And the book also suggests focusing on the qualities you want to attract rather than the ones you don't want.
Right. It's like the law of attraction, what you focus on expands. If you're always thinking about the things you don't want in a partner, you're more likely to attract those qualities. But if you focus on the positive, you'll be more likely to attract what you're actually looking for.
That's a great way to put it. And the book also emphasizes how important it is to believe that you deserve to be in a loving, fulfilling relationship.
Okay, so self-love, clarity of desire, positive focus, and a belief in your own worthiness. That's a powerful combination for attracting the right person.
It is, and the book goes beyond just attracting a partner. It also offers guidance on navigating the challenges that come up in relationships.
Well, I'm sure that's a valuable section for a lot of people. What are some of the takeaways there?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of communication. It encourages you to express your needs and desires in a way that's clear and respectful, and to really listen to your partner's needs and desires.
Okay, communication is definitely essential for any relationship. But what about when conflicts happen? Does the book offer any advice on how to work through disagreements?
It does. It suggests approaching conflicts with understanding and compassion. It also encourages you to use techniques like affirmations and mental movies to visualize a harmonious resolution and to attract the wisdom and guidance you need to work through the situation successfully.
So even when things are tough, you can use the power of your mind to create a more positive outcome.
Exactly. It's about remembering that you have the power to choose your thoughts and beliefs and to create the type of relationship you desire.
Okay, that's really inspiring. So it sounds like this book is a really valuable resource for anyone who wants to improve their relationships.
Absolutely. It's full of practical tips and techniques that can help you create more fulfilling and loving relationships.
Okay, I'm loving this deep dive. We've covered financial abundance and a fulfilling career and loving relationships.
Yeah.
It seems like we're hitting all the major areas of life.
It really does offer a comprehensive approach to using the power of your mind to create positive change.
Right, but it's not all about achieving external things, right?
Right.
It also talks about finding inner peace and happiness, right?
Absolutely. In fact, the book says that happiness is a choice. It's not the result of external circumstances.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How do you choose happiness? And what role does the subconscious mind play in all of this?
That's a great question, and it's one that we're going to dive into in the next part of our exploration.
Excellent. I can't wait to hear more about it. This is definitely giving me a lot to think about.
Me too. This book really is full of wisdom and practical advice.
Our listeners, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back soon to continue our exploration of the power of the subconscious mind. Stay tuned. And we're back. We're continuing to dive into the power of the subconscious mind. And last time we were talking about how our beliefs actually shape our reality, right?
Yeah, it's wild. The book gives some really amazing examples to, prove its point.
Right.
Like the story of Dr. Esdaile and his incredibly low rate of surgical infections back in the 1800s.
Right, is way before we had any modern antiseptic techniques.
And his patients, they almost never got infections after surgery. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about.
And the book suggests that it was his belief that there wouldn't be any infections that actually contributed to their healing.
So he was like programming his patients for success without them even knowing it.
Basically, yeah.
Wow. So there wasn't just the placebo effect.
It seems like more than that. Their beliefs and his beliefs, they combine to actually influence the physical outcome.
Okay, that's pretty wild. But what about normal people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not miracle workers or saints.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any practical techniques that we can use to, harness this power of belief?
Absolutely. The book's full of them. We were just talking about a few, like mental movies and the Baudouin technique.
Right. Creating those vivid mental pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And repeating affirmations before you go to sleep.
Yeah. But let's look at a few more.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
One that really stood out to me was the thank you, Father technique.
Okay.
It's so simple, but so powerful. I really like it.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it before. It's about expressing gratitude for something that you want. But I don't know, it feels a little weird thanking the universe for something I don't even have yet.
I know, it can feel a little strange at first, but the whole idea is to shift your mental state from lack to abundance. So when you're thanking in advance, you're saying that, hey, what I want is already on its way. And that can actually help to draw it to you.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of starting to see how that could work, like sending a signal to the universe that you're ready to receive it, right?
Exactly. And the book gives an example. Mr. Broke, who used this technique to get over some serious money problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He just kept saying, thank you, Father, for the money he knifted. And eventually it came to him from all these unexpected places.
Wow, Mr. Broke and the thank you, Father technique, putting that on my list.
Yeah.
But let's get back to those specific life challenges that we were talking about.
Okay. Sounds good.
You said the book talks about financial difficulties
Uh-huh.
and career success and relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where should we start?
Let's tackle financial difficulties first. The book really highlights how important it is to align our minds,
Right.
to actually attract abundance.
Right. We were talking about that before.
Right.
But how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
I mean, our beliefs about money are so ingrained.
Yeah. For a lot of people, they are. So the book says to start by figuring out what those limiting beliefs actually are.
Okay.
So think about, what did you learn about money growing up? Do you believe that money is hard to come by? That it's wrong to be rich? That you have to work like crazy to earn money?
Yeah, I've definitely heard all of those more than once.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners have too.
Exactly. And once you've identified those beliefs, you can actually start to challenge them and then replace them with some that are more empowering. And affirmations can be a great tool for this.
Okay, so instead of thinking money is hard to come by, I could affirm I'm a money magnet. Abundance just flows into my life.
Exactly. And the more you repeat those affirmations, the more your subconscious mind will start to believe them. And then it replaces those old limiting beliefs. It's pretty cool.
And what about using visualizations?
Yeah.
Does the book say to do that for financial abundance?
Absolutely. It encourages you to create these really vivid mental pictures of yourself actually living a life of financial freedom. Imagine you have more than enough money to cover all your bills, to travel, to do whatever you want, even to give to others. Feel all those emotions that come with that, the joy, the gratitude, the abundance, as if it's already real.
It's like you're creating a movie trailer for your dream life.
Hmm.
And if you watch it enough, your subconscious mind is going to make it real.
That's a great way to put it. It really is about impressing those images and emotions on your subconscious mind so it can help bring those things into your life.
Okay, that makes sense. But it's one thing to visualize, right?
Right.
But it's another to actually take action.
You're right. It's not enough to just wish for it. And the book really emphasizes that.
Okay.
It says you need to take inspired action.
Okay,
You can't just wish for financial abundance.
right.
You actually have to take the steps to create it.
So things like budgeting, investing, starting a side hustle, looking for a better paying job,
Hmm.
those would all be considered inspired action.
Those are perfect examples.
Okay, cool. So it's kind of like following your intuition and trusting your gut.
Exactly. And trusting that the universe will have your back.
I love that. So we've talked about shifting our beliefs about money, visualizing financial abundance, and taking inspired actions. Is there anything else the book says about attracting wealth?
One more thing. It says to really pay attention to how you think and feel about people who are already wealthy.
Right. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It's about letting go of that resentment or envy toward people who are already successful.
Exactly. Those negative emotions can block your own success.
Okay.
It's important to remember that we're all part of the same flow, and there's more than enough for everyone.
So instead of feeling jealous of wealthy people, we should celebrate their success and see it as proof that financial abundance is possible for us too.
Yes, exactly. Shift that perspective from scarcity to abundance, and believe that you can have a life of wealth and prosperity too.
Okay, I'm already feeling richer.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears to career success. What are some of the insights from the book about that?
Okay, so it starts with this really inspiring story about this guy who wanted to be a doctor, and he actually achieves his goal. It highlights how powerful persistence is and the importance of actually aligning what you do with what you want. He wasn't just dreaming, he was actively taking steps, all while visualizing his goal.
Okay, so it's about combining that internal work with external action.
Exactly. And the book warns against having all these negative thoughts about your current job.
Right. Even if you're not in your dream job right now, you got to stay positive and focus on where you want to be. All that negativity just creates more negativity, right?
Exactly. The book says to try to focus on the good things about your job, even if they seem really small, and be thankful for what you do have.
So it's about appreciating where you are right now while you're working towards something better.
Exactly. And remembering that every experience is a chance to learn and grow.
Okay, that's really good advice. But what about the people who don't even know what their dream job is? What if you're like, I don't even know what I want to do? Does the book help with that?
It does. It suggests doing things like journaling or meditating or visualizing, just to connect with like your inner wisdom
Okay.
and find your passions and your purpose.
So it's about like blocking out all the distraction and listening to your gut.
Yes. And the book reminds us that finding your dream job can be a journey.
Okay.
It's not always like you just arrive.
Yeah.
So you got to be open to all the possibilities and follow your intuition. It'll lead you to a career that makes you happy, and that aligns with what you believe in.
That's great. But what about the people who feel trapped in a job they absolutely hate? Like they're miserable. Does the book have any advice for them, like how to escape the corporate grind?
Yeah, for sure. It says to explore all your options.
Okay.
And think about different career paths,
Yeah.
paths that align with your passions.
Right.
And it suggests using those techniques we were talking about, like affirmations and mental movies,
Okay.
so you can visualize yourself in a new career and attract all the resources and opportunities you need to make that happen.
So even if you feel stuck, like there's no way out, you can use your mind to create something better.
Exactly. You always have a choice, and you always have the power to change your life.
Okay. That's so empowering.
Yeah.
So we've talked about having abundance and a fulfilling career.
Yeah.
But what about relationships?
Right.
That's such a huge part of life.
Yeah.
Does the book have any advice for all that?
It does. A whole chapter is dedicated to relationships. It covers all of it, from attracting the right people to overcoming challenges in the relationships you're already in.
Okay, I'm ready. Tell me all about it.
So it starts by talking about self-love. Until you really love and accept yourself, you're going to have a hard time finding someone who loves and accepts you too, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself.
Exactly.
But how do you actually cultivate self-love?
Well, the book says to practice self-care
Okay.
and acknowledge all the good things about yourself. all your accomplishments and forgive yourself for the things you've done in the past. And it says you should challenge those negative beliefs that you have about yourself. Replace them with positive ones.
So be kind to yourself, basically, and know your worth.
Exactly. And once you have that solid foundation of self-love, you'll be in a much better place to attract someone who is right for you.
Okay, so self-love is super important. But how do you actually find that ideal partner? Does the book say how to do that?
It does. It says to get really clear on what you want in a partner. So it suggests writing down a list of all the qualities you're looking for, physical and non-physical, and then visualize yourself in a relationship with someone who has all those qualities.
So imagine yourself in that relationship,
Yeah,
feeling all those great emotions, like you're already living it.
exactly. And the book says to focus on what you do want instead of what you don't want.
Right, because what you focus on is what you're going to attract. So if you're always thinking about the things you don't want, you're more likely to attract those things. But if you focus on what you do want, you're going to be more likely to attract that instead.
That's a great way to explain it. And the book says to really believe that you deserve to be in a good relationship.
Okay, so self-love, clarity of desire, positive focus, and a belief in your own worthiness.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a recipe for a good relationship.
Okay, it is. And you said the book goes beyond just finding a partner.
Yeah,
It also helps you deal with problems in the relationships you have.
absolutely. It talks about the challenges that come up in relationships.
Okay, well, a lot of people could probably use that advice. What does it say?
Communication is key. It encourages you to talk about what you need and what you want, but to do it in a way that is respectful.
Right.
And to really listen to what your partner needs and wants too.
Okay, yeah, communication is definitely essential for any relationship. But what about when you have arguments? Does the book talk about how to work through those?
It does. It says to approach conflict with understanding
Yeah.
and compassion.
Hmm.
And it encourages you to use those techniques we talked about, like affirmations
Mhm.
and mental movies, so you can imagine the situation ending in a good way. And try to attract the wisdom you need to get through it.
So even when things are hard, you can still use your mind to create a better outcome.
Exactly. It's about making the choice to control your thoughts and beliefs and to create the relationship that you want.
That's really inspiring. So this book sounds like a great resource for anyone who wants to improve their relationships.
It is. It's full of practical advice that can help you create more fulfilling and loving relationships.
Wow, we've covered so much today. We've talked about financial abundance, a fulfilling career, and loving relationships. It seems like we've talked about every major area of life.
It really does. The book offers a complete approach to using the power of your mind.
But it's not all about external stuff, right?
No, definitely not.
It talks about finding inner peace and happiness, too.
Absolutely. In fact, the book says that happiness is a choice. It doesn't come from your circumstances.
Okay, I'm listening. How do you choose to be happy? And what does your subconscious have to do with that?
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore more deeply in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, can't wait. This is giving me so much to think about.
Me too. This book is full of wisdom and great advice.
All right, listeners, we're going to keep exploring the power of our subconscious minds. Stay tuned for the final part of this deep dive. And we're back. We're wrapping up our deep dive today, still thinking about how the power of the subconscious mind has this really different take on getting older.
Right. It's so refreshing. Instead of thinking about aging as this downhill slide, the book says that your mind doesn't actually have to age the way we think it does.
And it's not just like trying to be positive.
Yeah.
It gives examples of people who did amazing things in their later years. It's like saying, hey, just because you reach a certain age doesn't mean your potential is gone.
Yeah. And it comes back to the power of belief. If you keep hearing that you're going to be slower and less sharp as you get older, your subconscious might start to believe it too.
Yeah, then it could actually like affect your reality. It's like those negative stereotypes about getting older, they become these self-fulfilling prophecies.
Exactly. So you have to choose a different story for yourself, one that's all about growth and vitality.
Okay, so how do we actually reprogram those beliefs, those subconscious beliefs about aging?
The book gives you tools, like we were talking about before, mental movies. Just imagine yourself being vibrant, being energetic, doing things you love, even when you're older.
It's like, I don't know, like a vision board
Yeah.
for your future,
Hmm.
showing your subconscious what's possible. But it's not just about like looking young, correct?
Yeah, definitely not.
It's about mental and emotional well-being too.
For sure. The book encourages you to embrace all the wisdom and experience you gain as you age. Think about retirement, not as the end, but as a new chapter, full of possibilities. What if you use the Baudoin technique to suggest things like continuing to learn, being creative, even starting new relationships?
That's awesome. Like, hey, retirement doesn't have to be about slowing down. It can be about finally doing the things you never had time for before.
And it all comes down to choice. You're not just accepting how society says you should age. You're creating your own path based on what you want and what you believe.
And that's like one of the most important things we've learned today, isn't it? We have the power to create our own reality. And the power of the subconscious mind gives us the tools to do that.
It does. It really does.
So before we finish up, I want to go over some of the most important things we learned from this deep dive.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, first, the book shows us just how powerful our subconscious minds really are, like how much they shape our experiences.
That's a big one. It's not just fate, you know. We can actually control outcomes if we understand how our minds work and use the right techniques.
And the techniques are things we can all do. We've been talking about mental movies and affirmations, the Baudoin technique, even simple gratitude, like the thank you, Father technique. Those are things anyone can try.
And the best part is you're not just wishing for things to happen.
Right.
You're actually taking part in creating your reality. You're choosing your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions to match what you want.
Yeah. It's like your subconscious is always working, so you might as well make it work for you.
Exactly.
I think another important takeaway is that having a positive mindset is so important.
I agree.
Whether it's money problems or career struggles or relationship drama or just everyday stress, focusing on the good, being thankful, believing you can overcome challenges, those things can make a huge difference.
And the book also talks about those tougher emotions.
Right.
The fear, anger, resentment, guilt. But it doesn't say to just ignore them. It gives you actual strategies for working through them, like forgiveness and self-compassion, so you can move on.
So we can have more peace and joy in our lives. I really hope our listeners feel empowered, like they can unlock the potential of their minds.
Me too. It's incredible what we're capable of.
If we could just leave our listeners with one thing to think about,
Yeah.
what would it be?
That's a good one.
I think it would be this. If your subconscious mind is this amazing creative force, what will you create with it?
That is a great question. And as you explore your own mind, remember, you have the power to create the life that you want.
And that's a great place to end our deep dive into the power of the subconscious mind. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon to dive into another fascinating topic. See you then.